Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Happy Friday. I'm Lori Williams, and today we're going to start a new session, a new month. We're starting, the theme of this month is centered in art. And the idea behind it is that we want. Everyone. Welcome. Happy Friday. Sorry, 1 second. I'm Lori Williams, and today. There we go. Had to turn that off, that echo. So yeah, so the whole point of this month is a meditative practice. So we want to use our art as a tool for grounding and mindfulness. So we want to find peace and practicing art and connecting in the present moment. So we're going to do a number of things over the course of the month here on the lives. And today we're going to start that with a couple of things. One, we're going to talk about some breathing exercises that you can do. And the first one we're going to do is probably one most of you have done before, where you inhale for counts of 4, hold for counts of 4, and exhale counts of 4. Wait another count of 4 and repeat. So you do that multiple times. That's called the box breathing method. And we're going to each week we're going to have a different breathing method to practice. But that's one of the things we're going to do. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to create some high contrasting collage papers using black marker or pen or pencil or whatever you have on a paper to create collage paper. I'm recommending that you use something like a tissue or rice paper or something that when you collage with it you can see through it, so you can see your backgrounds through the paper. And so we're going to do that. And then for the first few minutes, I'm going to walk you through some patterns that you can use. We do have downloadable patterns on the website. I'll show you those in just a moment as well. The other thing is that we're going to do a little bit of collage with that. So once we create our collage paper at the first part of today's session, then we're going to do a quick little collage piece or practice. I don't expect you'll finish this today, but the whole idea behind it is to give you a method and a process for getting centered in your art and using your art as a meditative and a therapy session. So before we do that, I want to actually share my screen here because I want to, let me see here. I want to show you what we have in the back end and where it is. We haven't done that in a while, and I think that could be helpful. But before I do that, how about Terry, you and Corrine introduce yourselves and say hi.
Hi, I'm Terry Jones, and I am just excited for this relaxing month. And I'm really interested in the breathing processes and all. Thanks.
I'm Corrine Carpino, and I too am excited about relaxing this month. And I practice breathing exercises, so my interest is in learning new tangles and doodles that I can use in my art.
Yeah. So ladies, let me ask you something. One of the things I notice that I do when I'm just intuitively when I'm creating is I'm breathing. And my daughter goes, "You're always blowing while you're working, when you're doing your art." And I never realized it, but I do these breathing exercises without even realizing I'm doing. I just wondered if that's just me or do you guys do that too?
I haven't
I
noticed.
think I'm sorry, go ahead, Terry.
I said, I have noticed that I calm down a lot and I'm
Okay.
like somewhere else and I'm not breathing necessarily rapidly. And so I've noticed that, yes.
And I think for me, it's more conscious. I actually think about doing it
Oh, okay. All right,
um,
great.
to bring that calm.
Okay. All right, so I'm gonna share my screen real quick and then we'll dive in. I won't spend a whole lot of time here, but I wanted just to show everyone what's kind of behind the scenes and where we've been. So we've been doing this since January. So each one of the months is here represented and has resources. Plus there's the inspo prompter. We did that on one of our sessions. I think that was one of our Zoom private Zoom sessions for the memberships. And then on February, Terry did Connected Hearts, and April she did the Creative Flow, And May, here we go, May, Corinne led us in Artful Layers. And here we are in June for Centered in Art. Each one of these, if you open them up, will have a series of things in them. So if you, like, for instance, I open up the February, you can see that we have the course. I'm actually gonna, I think I'm in the back end, aren't I?
And Lori, this is for this section is for members only.
Yes, exactly. This is for members only, but membership is $7 a month or $70 a year, whichever you're interested in. But basically you get a lot. We've already got a lot of resources and stuff built into this. But you can see when you come to this, there are different lessons and stuff, and you can get to them pretty easily. There's resources, replays of everything, all here organized for you to tap into. And so we're just starting June. So under the June Centered in Art, I wanted to show you a couple of things that we have up here already. One is calming palette. So one of the things that when you're doing art and you're in a certain mood or a certain headspace, you want to maybe use a palette that's not like bold like this one here. This one's really bold. You may want to use a calming palette to go along with the process. And so we've created some resources here, some palettes for inspiration that you can use when you're creating and mixing your paint palettes. And then we have the breathing exercises. So here we have breathing. So the one we're going to do today is the 4x4x4 method. And we'll go over that before we get started. And then go back one more, and then the doodle pattern. So today we're going to start off creating some doodle patterns that we can on paper that we can use for collage. And this is some inspiration for some of the doodles. And this is available in a printable version, again, in the private resource area of June. And so you can download all of these for your inspiration. There will be a project posted here soon. So every month we do there's a big project that's exclusive to the community. We do a paint alone that's exclusive to the community. And then each week we have a session like this live on YouTube that's available to everyone. And this week is the Create Geometric Collage Papers. So I'm going to stop my sharing here. And I think we are ready to dive in. So
I'm going down.
let me get rearranged here so I can put my camera down. There we go. All right, so before we get started, I'm gonna move my microphone around here so you guys can hear me. So before we get started here, one of the things that we talked about was the breathing exercises. And you may be someone like myself who does breathing, meditative breathing intuitively when you're creating. But if not, you may want to do it intentionally, especially if you need to use your art to deal with a situation that you may be in at any given time, or you just need to calm some anxiety or whatever the purpose. This is a great exercise. Even if you're not creating art, this is a great exercise when you're feeling this way. So the way it starts out, it's called box breathing, and it's the 4x4x4x4 method. And you use it to calm the nerves and settle into a flow. And the first thing you do is you inhale for 4 seconds or a count of 4, you hold for 4 seconds, and then you exhale for 4 seconds, you hold for 4 more seconds, and then you repeat again. So let's go through this. So get ready to inhale. So let's inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4, exhale 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Exhale 2, 3, 4. And you can repeat that as you're working to help you calm. And so that's our breathing exercise today. I do want to add a little note here, if you have lung issues or breathing issues and stuff, you definitely want to consult your doctor on You may have unique breathing exercises that work for you that these may not. I wouldn't want you to get lightheaded or any of that sort of stuff. So if you feel that way, you might want to stop, but it is definitely helpful. Or you could just, lower the number of seconds too, and, do shorter versions of it. But just as a cautionary, I want you to know that if you do have those issues, you do need to consult with your doctor for what's best for you. Okay. So what we're going to do today is the first part, and I've already talked for a large part of that. So for the next 10 minutes, we're going to create collage papers using a marker. So I have a Sharpie here. You can use an Illustrator pen. You can use whatever you have, whatever you want for this. I do recommend starting out with black and white and working with black and white because the whole purpose of this is for high contrast. And so we want to, a lot of times when we create artwork, we want to be able to add some contrast for interest to our paintings. And I love geometric shapes and adding them as subtle accents to different things that I work on. And you can actually you can actually create these on a computer and print them out if you want, but I really think it's really painterly and artsy if you create your own by hand. So we do have this document is also in the resources. I didn't show you, but it's in there that you can download. And it is a little packet, and it also the images are also on screen, but it's a packet that shows you some different doodle designs that you can use for inspiration when you're creating. Some of these are like Zentangle like, a couple of them actually. We will probably cover some Zentangle in one of the other weeks, but today I just really wanted to keep it simple and quick and intuitive. So we're going to go with some of these designs. So you can think about what you might like to use. I think I am going to start with this dash line here. I think it's a good starting point. I just want to make sure you guys can see my paper here. And I'm using my Sharpie. So the only thing I want to caution about a Sharpie, it is that sometimes if it's not completely dry when you use it in collage, it can smudge some because it is alcohol based. I actually tested it and it didn't do too bad. So this is what it looked like right here. This was the Sharpie. This was another type of watercolor marker. And both of these have matte medium over the top. You can see that the Sharpie did smudge a little bit, but not enough for me to be concerned about it on this paper. So that's what I'm going to go with today. But if you have watercolor markers, you could use those. Any other permanent marker would be fine as well. Okay, so I am going to go, I'm going to use, let's see here. I do have a little bit of a straight edge, and I want to create this little dot and dash pattern here to start with. I'm going to just kind of do a section of my page with that. And just real simple. I mean, this is probably the simplest thing we've done. As I'm going to come down, and I'm actually using a little card to keep my lines straight because otherwise that would be interesting, I think. See here. I'll start up a little higher. I think I might want them a little closer together, so let me put some in between here. A really cool thing that's happening with the Sharpie is on the edges, we're getting these little ball things. I think that looks cool. And remember to do your breathing exercises while you're doing this and creating. I'm freehanding here because it's going a lot faster this way for the sake of time. And I'm just going through and making you can make it as perfect or imperfect as you want. That's your call. You have big gaps, you can put little dots in the middle. That's kind of neat. So I'm coming in here and doing some dots. And I'm breathing. Okay. So for this, just because I'm not gonna, I could create a whole big area of this, and that would be great to have a lot of pieces, but I want to go into some other patterns just so we have a variety today. And let's see, how about this one? Looks like a fun here at the botanicals, and I'm always doodling these too anyway, so even when I'm not doing my art, I'm doodling. All right, how about just do some circles like this one? And you can do any design that you want. And I see that Terry is thinking outside the box there, and and of course Corinne is doing the botanicals. I knew that she was going to do that. So, a little story about the breathing exercises. This particular box method one, I used to do this when I was in high school. I had a problem with headaches. And so by the end of the school day, I would always have really bad headaches. And so my last period of the day was band. And guess what? I played the trumpet.
Oh,
And it always amazed me that by halfway through the class, I would be feeling so much better. And my head would,
Better.
and then, fast forward years later, and I got to thinking about it. I'm like, when you play the trumpet, you have to have a breathing pattern in order to sustain playing, a whole piece. So what was happening is we were playing, and so I was breathing, and so it was a form of relaxation. And I never like put two and two together until later on. But but yeah.
so Lori, I think I should put another piece of paper underneath of this. Look what
Oh
happened.
yeah, I do have another.
Yeah, I did too. I put a piece of
You see,
copy paper underneath.
look how
Yeah,
pretty
well,
my little finger paint paper is.
yeah.
Might be able to use the copy paper for something too.
Well, that's what I was just thinking because what I've got freezer paper, which I really don't like to collage with. It doesn't work that well, but I might just put another piece of rice paper under this one and see
Hmm.
what happens with the next
Yeah, why
with the
not
next
create two things
layer.
at once? Terry,
Right.
you're so clever that way.
Why not? Let's go for it.
So I'm just making little X's now. Just simple stuff. Oh, I know. So I have some practice sheets of Zentangle squares that I'll also post up. I actually drew these in with a ruler. For one of our future sessions, we're going to practice some designs, some Zentangle designs. But I will have that printable paper up as well that we can use. So you can print it, if you can figure out how to print it onto tissue paper or rice paper, that could be cool. So now I'm going to do some wavy lines. So it's hard to talk and do the breathing exercises.
It is.
Yeah.
And these are simple patterns that we're doing today. Like I said, we get into the Zen tangles. Some of those are a little more complicated, but very cool looking. I know.
I'm just having fun.
Mhm. I'm going to do one little more complicated one, and then we'll go over to doing our collage stuff. I'm just doing a bunch of circles here. And then I'm going to take.
I do need to do a little.
I'm going to take my little credit card here, and
Oops.
I'm going to. This is really easier when you have a box to keep you in the lines, but I'm just going to freehand it here. If I really wanted to get perfectionist, I would make sure I was using the same angle with this, but this is just an exercise here to demonstrate.
Oh, that's cool, Terry.
I used to do this for hours, making.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I know, and I just love when I'm sitting watching TV or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I did. Yep.
I doodle when I'm nervous. I doodle when I'm, thinking. Like when I'm deep in thought about something, I catch myself doodling. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking
Mhm.
hard, but my hands are doing, so it's coming out very organically.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
We're
So
done.
this is fun. So I encourage you to keep doing these. Go and download this list here. And maybe I'll make this sheet available to anybody who wants it to download. I'll as soon as I put it up, I will put a link in the description for this video. So if you're watching it, you can download that. Okay.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Very cool.
so I figure, why not? And so now what I want to do is I'm just a quick little exercise of taking one of the pieces that we created in a previous session and adding some geometric and contrasting shapes to it using what we just created.
Okay.
And you guys, yours are looking great.
Oh, well, it's been fun.
Mm,
You know, I have one of those rough edge rulers that I should pull out for this, maybe for next week. I don't want to go digging around my stuff, but
mine's just a regular ruler, but it works.
yeah, so I'm just gonna tear off some of this.
Oops, this may not work this way.
And again, I don't have my focal point for this one yet. I figure it's just eventually gonna come to me, but I do know I'd like to have some contrast in there. And so collage to me is very meditative anyway. So you put it with this, then you got like a perfect recipe, I think.
Yep.
Okay.
This one, I'll try with this one. So, well, I think I'm going to do, I have this little piece. I don't remember when I created it, but I love the colors. I can see that it's an alcohol ink.
Now I have this. It's
Oh, that's
just,
very nice.
yeah, I just found
Right.
it in the stash. It was something that I was going to work more layers on,
Right.
but that's fun. We can do some of this on it, and then we'll tear
Right.
the whole thing up later and do
Do something else.
something
Right.
else.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm
Let me get my,
gonna do this.
this
And
could look
But
cool over
see how
some.
it just changes the whole look of a background by just adding
Mm-hmm.
that contrast and those lines of interest.
okay, so I think
Let's see,
I
I'm gonna
love
look for a
the
light
rice paper one.
spot.
Now you can use regular paper if you don't have rice paper or tissue paper. It's okay. You can collage with regular paper. I just like this because it's transparent.
This nice light spot that we'll use.
oh, I like to cut the edges, but I'm not having very much success with tearing them with this tea paper. I'm not used to I mean, I don't like to cut the edges. I like to tear the edges,
Tear them, yeah.
but
Is
this
it tea paper harder to tear?
tea paper seems to be a bit harder to tear.
Hmm.
Not participating in my tearing. So
Uh-oh.
I do
I
want to make one more comment, and this is playing off what we talked about last week, on Friday.
Uh-huh.
We talked about glazing. So
Oh,
Mhm.
yes.
you could come across this paper before you use it and glaze it with a tint.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mhm.
know, by using some of your gel medium and a tiny bit of paint color in there, and use it as a glaze over the top to add, you know, if you don't want it to be like stark black and white, you could also
Right.
use different color markers. So you don't have to use black. You could use, you know, whatever your heart desires, honestly.
Okay. So, well, I am going to give up on the tearing because it's just not doing what I want with this tea paper. I've never used this particular tea paper before. I think it's not Jane Monteith's. It's
It's
an
not
off-brand.
Jane's.
It's not Jane's. So it's an off-brand. I went and got an off-brand.
Another thing
But
that's kind of fun is if you have a sentiment or a script or something that you like a lot, you could write it out in black marker on your tissue paper and then use it for collage. So if you want to create a bunch of handwritten sentiments,
Mm-hmm.
that would be another good use of this technique.
And heaven knows I like to do that.
uh,
Okay.
okay,
So I
tearing.
have embellished this thing, I think, enough.
Yeah, I'm just gonna make stuff to cut up and use in something else.
Right. And I'm not sure what I'm doing either. I'm just
So I'm
exploring.
just exploring. Yeah, that's what I'm doing is exploring.
I'm just exploring, and I just want a few bit of these Dalmatian dots.
And that's what that our whole thing is about, is exploring mixed media and all the different things that you can do.
Right. One of the things I was thinking the other day is how often I end up just discovering through my mistakes, number one.
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
So if
Which
you're
is
making
my-
mistakes, they're not for nothing.
They're not for
That's
nothing. You're
right.
right. They're not for nothing. They tend to end up being some kind of part of the process,
Mhm.
and actually a fairly exciting part of the process at times. So this is getting a little linear, but
Okay, one more thing here.
I'm gonna work on that and throw
An
some stuff
interesting piece.
in. So this is going to be interesting because this is an alcohol ink, and I'm not
Yes, so
sure.
the gel medium is probably gonna.
Well,
Smear it. It may smear it.
one of the things I do with alcohol inks is before I put them in my pile,
You spray them?
no, I don't spray them. I put a
Hmm.
coat of gel medium on my plate,
Oh yeah.
and then
Mhm.
I seal them with the gel medium in my plate.
Oh,
So if I've done that, which obviously I've done it on this one, because it's not doing what we always have a problem with it doing.
Mhm.
so you just
It's
sparked an idea, Terry. Have you ever mixed alcohol ink with gel medium?
no, I haven't.
Me
I
either.
haven't tried that either.
That might be an
I
interest.
wonder if that would be a good experiment for us to do.
Mhm.
Okay, that would be a good experiment for us to do. Whoops. So this
Okay.
one obviously was one of the ones I probably used in the demonstration of this is how you seal your papers if you want.
Right.
Because
Okay. And then
So
I'll just
we're
cut.
so we're all done, ladies. It's 11:30, but I do want to do a shout out to Joe
Okay.
and Adele who are watching live today. Hello, ladies. Good to see you.
hi.
Hi. Nice to have you with us.
So Lamaze breathing. Adele says the breathing reminds her of Lamaze breathing, and I guess kind of, yeah,
Yep.
yeah. It really does help though if you're stressed out. I mean, I've learned that over time. So let me see what you guys have.
Okay, well, mine, I don't know if I can bring this down any farther for you. I might be able to. Oh, the wrong way, direction. So that's my start now for just adding some more
I
to
like
this
it.
one. And it really did work where the alcohol ink did not reactivate because of what I had done prior.
Mhm.
And then look at all of this stuff that I still have to play with.
Isn't
You're
that fun?
fast.
I am fast.
When I do this, I'm like slow and meditative, and
And that's
I
fast.
don't
That's
I
what
don't get very far very quickly.
that we went kind of fast today, but it's the way it should be for sure.
I'm just trying to see. I had this um collage started, and I need to do more to it, and I'm just like, oh, maybe some of this once it's dry and it goes clear,
Yeah.
might be able to use pieces of it in here.
Whatever that paper I used, it did not go clear. So maybe it was that. So
Mine hasn't yet, but I'm hoping when it dries, it goes clearer.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay, ladies. Well, thank you today. So
All right.
next week, the live will be a premiere, so it's pre-recorded because Terry and Corrine are going to be in a class teaching a class in North Carolina, at the Folk School of Art, and wish I could be there.
Me too.
And so you guys have a really good week with that. So I'll be leading a session. Like I said, it will be a premiere, and I'll watch the premiere and answer any questions in the comments. And then we'll pick back up the next week on live paint along.
Sounds fabulous, Lori.
Sounds great.
All right. Well,
Thank you, Lori. This was lots of fun, very relaxing.
absolutely.
It
Absolutely.
was
Well,
very relaxing.
everyone, enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Take
Bye.
care, everyone. Bye
Take
bye.
care. Bye.